Good job. Stop the car a little bit more on this one. Good job. Power earlier on this one. Great job.
That's always gonna happen.
It was a good one.
Guest is here.
Hey guys.
Will Goulbourne, engineer of, wait a second. Chief trackside engineer of Red Bull. I got a facility inside. We're gonna do a little tour in the garage of Red Bull. And I can't believe I'm here actually, honestly. It's just amazing.
So this actually happened many months after the coaching session that you're gonna watch right now.
If you want to introduce yourself a little bit. Up to you. Up to you though.
My name is Will Goulbourne. I'm currently on gardening leave from F1. Going from Merck to Red Bull to go and head up their trackside division for the new powertrain. In my time, I have been designing a sim wheel. You can all check it out at t1-design.com. First batch is all sold out and support has been amazing. So I'm just trying to figure out how I carry on making these wheels and developing them while I go back traveling with F1.
Just a bit of work. Just a bit.
Just a little bit of work.
All right. So how is practice?
It's good. So it's for the WSL Endurance League. And in the open session so far, I've kind of been up towards the top end of the field, which is fairly good considering the competition. But I think the pace is there. I need to get consistency. I've been trying to work more on the release of the brake, so particularly into the hairpin that was just on the screen. Nice smooth release as I come off the brake. I found that's really helped my entry.
All right. Yeah, I want to see you driving. I want to see where is the source of inconsistency and how we can minimize it.
Cool. I'll go for it. Just realised track temp's about 8 degrees higher than what I was in half an hour ago.
Oh, okay.
All right.
Can you pause? Do you have the pause button here?
Oh, no.
No?
Wrong
Okay,
button.
then
That was a
let's-
screenshot button.
Okay, so what did you do different in this corner that you gained a 10.5 on the second sector?
I definitely got the apex. I got the car turned a lot more before the apex.
But why?
Got the drive
Why did the
out.
car turn more? Why did you get more cornering grip?
I couldn't tell you, to be honest.
Exactly. So that's the thing. I was paying attention to your tire sounds, and it seems that you're abusing a little bit too much that threshold, and you're overheating the surface. By the time you turn into the corner, you have a little bit less cornering grip because the tires are too hot. And now on this was the first time where you braked and I didn't listen to the tires micro locking.
Yeah.
You braked, you were 3% before the limit, and the sound was a little bit more gentle. And then when you turned, then there was a lot of grip, and that's why you hit the apex.
Yeah.
So overall, on hard braking zones, I think you are a little bit overly aggressive on the brake pressures, and I can hear the tires almost wanting to lock, and it's amazing.
Yeah.
You have a great skill to almost be locking at all times without actually locking or having any like or going straight. But I think this
It's
is
too much.
the source of your inconsistency, because
Okay.
you're so close, but you're not consistently close. Sometimes you're not, like this corner, and then you found a lot of time and you don't know why.
Yeah.
It's because you didn't brake that hard. I'm talking about this time you brake, like let's say on a given fraction of second there, you were braking 87% instead of 90. That would
Yeah.
be already making the difference. So
Okay.
listen to the sound of the tires. Not only that, I will give you one challenge right now. I want you to do both ways and notice the difference in cornering grip. Do you want to try that? Understeer. Rah. You can already expect that it's going to happen if you abuse the braking like that.
Yep.
If you notice it, let me know. Like here, lots of rotation. So you remember that you have to do a double adjustment. If you're braking a little bit less, you have
Earlier.
to brake a little bit earlier, yeah. I like this one. Also like this one.
Yeah, it wasn't much, but it felt a lot different.
Okay, nice. Keep focusing on that. It's very subtle. Yeah, here, be careful with slowing down too much. Don't do a V. Do more like a U and keep the speeds up,
Okay.
because you need the torque on the first gear. If you overslow, you get on the low end of the
Yeah.
first gear that has no power, and you lose a lot of time on that.
So would you take a wider line around that hairpin?
Slightly. Light hands on exit of this one. You were triggering a little bit too much TC on the previous laps. Try to get first early so you can rotate a little bit more and carry more speed. Look at the delta. Maybe it was a little bit exaggerated, but it's the idea to
Yeah.
kind of blend into the line you were doing before. Now, did you hear it?
Yeah.
This time it happened midway on the braking zone because you kept it too much. You didn't release it with the loss of downforce. High torque on the exit. Ooh, too much speed. Oh, be careful. When I say too much, when I say to carry more speed, it's not on entry. It's mid corner. It's
Yeah.
like the entry speed should be kind of similar, but then yeah, it's tricky. It's 5, maybe 4, 3 kilometers difference. So try to carry more speed without me noticing it. Let's pause here. Okay, so I'm talking about all the 4 tires, right? Like, in a way, we're talking about how hard you brake and how that affects cornering grip, and you felt the difference.
Yeah.
But this is the pillar. We're not talking about high detail yet. How can you affect that in a very subtle, controlled, microscopic way? Speed of downshifting to change the dynamic brake bias, the final brake bias. Brake bias itself, so that you can add more temperature to one end or the other. So you see, even without locking, you can change the brake bias, not thinking about what tires lock first, but what tires overheat first. Try to have that in mind when you're practicing, like for the whole week, because it's a very subtle thing. For some corners where you have lots of compression and camber, like that left-hander where Vettel crashed in the rain, that corner you can rely a lot more on the mechanical grip, so you can induce more rotation. You can really throw the car a little bit more. You can maybe downshift more aggressively and really make the car rotate, and then on power also be a little bit more aggressive. But then on other corners where you don't have that grip, like the two last corners, are flat, almost off camber in a way. You have to be a little bit less aggressive with the rotation. So downshifting was affecting that already, but now we are adding the how brakes affect it in combination. So now we're gonna start doing combinations of things.
Yeah.
So you still need to figure out a way to really nail the hairpin, well, by carrying a little bit more speed and not scrubbing the tires mid corner, because I think you're trying one and the other thing happens, so you kind of get like on stuck in this.
You never quite find out what the right thing is.
About the consistency problem, do you think it is being affected by you thinking about that? Are you figuring out the cause of inconsistency, or still not clear?
I think like you said, my inconsistency was me trying to push those braking zones too much, and some laps getting it right, some laps just completely understeering or missing the apex. Now I think that's what it was, but bringing it back just slightly is going to give me that. The consistency I usually find eventually. Just takes me a little while to get there.
Okay.
So I think with these tips, that's just going to make me get there quicker and hopefully find a bit more pace on top of it as well.
Yeah.
It's like you say, it's just about being aware of what I'm doing to the car and the effects it's having on my pace through the lap. I think that's the key thing. Yeah,
let's be more and more and more aware. Oh yeah, so that's what I wanted to tell you. So let's be ridiculously aware of the tire temperature, because in some corners you have to be more careful on entry and then really use that available grip on the exit. In some corners you want to do the opposite. In compound corners you need to think about the next corner as well. For example, that after the hairpin here we have left right. That left right, if you oversteer on the first left and you get away with it, on the next right-hander you will oversteer. Most likely, because the tires are gonna be cooked. And that's the thing. Like, if the second corner is always understeering, what can you do to compensate that understeer? You can actually deliberately be aggressive on power and throw the car on the corner before to have a little bit less grip on the rears, and then the car will churn more on the next corner. Sometimes my best laps in corners where we have compound corners and I need to solve the problem of the next corner, I solve it by building up the surface temperature of the tires on the corner before. This very clever and high level. I don't see a lot of people doing it consciously, but you can definitely control this. Be aware of it.
Yeah.
And the opposite, you can understeer on purpose in a corner and then have a little bit, like more grip. I mean, it's a solution, right? Ideally, we would solve that in other ways, but when driving sometimes and you get like the perfect setup and you need to solve just one corner, you can do that.
Yeah. I guess that goes for the corner before here as well on the start of the straight, is to not abuse the rears on entry, to make sure you get that drive on exit, I guess.
Yes, and that's why I actually was talking about light hands on exit.
Yeah.
because
Stop that rear slip.
but it's possibly that, but it's also possibly not that. It's possibly you are just being overly aggressive on the power, and even if you had the good temperatures, you would get the traction control anyways. So it's a possible factor. It's one more thing to add to your checklist, to your motor racing checklist. But yeah, let's keep driving, thinking about that.
Cool.
Yeah, I saw your brakes dropping. I was like, this car is not stopping. The initial brake was great, but then you just dropped it too much. You can drop a little bit slower. This was good. A good medium there. A little bit of both. A little bit of stressing on braking, a little bit of stressing on exit.
Too tight on entry.
Maybe your initial downshift was a little bit too late. You didn't add enough temperature on the rear tires. Try downshifting more aggressively overall on initial braking to see. Like even corners like this one or this next one. Okay, downshift aggressively overall on this lap. Okay, so in a situation like that, for example, you tried to downshift aggressively, but you locked the rears. What could you do?
Downshift a bit later?
No, you can... So yes, that is one of the things, but you can also downshift like that and brake less, 5% less. You should see if that combination works. Because you see, I had that at Sebring. Going into the hairpin at Sebring, you have two options. You can brake 90% and downshift slowly and you understeer, or you can brake 85% and downshift very aggressively and you oversteer. So you can adapt the braking to the downshift and vice versa. If you want to really try downshifting more aggressively and you're locking the rears, just brake less a little bit and see if that works. Because think like that. If you downshift more aggressively, you're adding more stress to the rears.
Yeah.
But if you're releasing the brakes 5% more or braking 5% more, you're decreasing the stress on the four tires, including the front tires. So as a result, we add stress to the rears, but we subtract stress from the fronts. So the balance of the car on that corner will be completely different.
Yep.
So try downshifting aggressively and don't lock the rears by braking less and see if you find that rotation, extra rotation. Maybe it's not worth for that corner, but I want you to learn how to do this adjustment quick while practicing.
Yeah. Okay.
Like, look at this. We can induce so much oversteer on this corner. It looks like a complete different setup. So much rotation.
Yeah. Really felt it there.
Can I record this lesson and add a very short highlight of it on the course? I think this is going to be a good lesson on the course. It's going to be towards the very end of the less units. I'm going to have a lot of bonus stuff with like tricks like that are golden. And you see now adjusting 3 things at the same time: the braking point, the braking pressure, and the downshifting, to get the tires to the right temperature on entry. A little bit too much speed. You got the extra rotation, but the car was sliding sideways to the outside. Best one so far. The turn in was too quick. When you turned in, did you hear the sound of the tire complaining?
Yeah.
Okay. That was the only thing to correct on that corner. Look at that. You're throwing the car around now. Yeah, these 2 last corners are the corners I see you understeering still a little bit too much.
Yeah.
We gotta figure out what to do. Ooh.
Attacking it too much again.
Yeah, it was too much of both. Like too quick downshift and too much braking. And you can try that, changing the brake bias. If you want to really do that, you could move maybe the brake bias up 0.5%, you know, and see, maybe it works. There's another thing that you can change.
I'm on 48.2.
Okay. Try for 48.6 or 48.5.
Would it be worth for those final 2 corners go more rearwards on the bias?
I don't think you have the time to do it, man. Like,
no.
You can, but it's too uncomfortable. I don't think it's worth it. I think it's more about the I mean, you in the same corner, you induced lots of understeer and lots of oversteer. It's just with driving that you can do that.
Yeah.
Is that with 48.6?
48.7.
48.7, still oversteered. A little bit. I'll try to downshift very aggressively here. Too quick on entry. You know, it's too quick because you did get good rotation, but then you were just sliding on the 4 tires.
Yeah, just lost it, didn't it?
Make it rotate.
Not that time.
It did rotate, it did rotate. It was sliding on the 4s. It was just too quick. That's why it went wide. You see, on this one, I expected the delta to be very green on the exit because you took so much care of the tires on entry. You were under limit on entry. And I was like, okay, on exit, this grip is going to show up. And it did. Good job. Stop the car a little bit more, this one. Good job. Power earlier on this one. Great job.
That's always gonna happen.
It was a good one. It was a good one. You were finding lots of time, man. You see how much you have to trust your downforce on this right hander here. You're always getting back on power, and was like, there's some time there. It was like
I could definitely feel that. It felt
something.
like the car was always getting to the apex and then driving out, where you can just fire it around, can't you? Really.
But hey, man, look at that. So much more control. So much more control.
That's it. It's finding that understanding what I'm doing to affect the result that I'm getting on the track. That's definitely helped me a lot.
And you know, now it's just driving and never forgetting this, because I think we talked about downshifting in a recent session, and you came back to the habit of downshifting too late and just having the car under steering. It's more comfortable to have the car under steering, but now you can see how you can have many stages in the same corner of oversteer then understeer, oversteer then understeer, and like managing the temperature at all times. Every 3/10 of a second, you're thinking something different in the same corner, and that's the fast way to drive. And that's just like, if you compare right now, you can even go to the replay if you want to check out like the braking into the hairpin on your first laps comparing to the best lap that you did recently here. You will see, like, in the first one you're like boom 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 boom.
It's alright.
And in the last one you're like vroom, 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 like lots of engine braking.
Yeah, there we go. Lazy downshifts. Yeah.
Look at the understeer.
Understeer. Yeah.
Now look at one of the fast laps down there.
There's half a second in there, easy.
Yeah. Oh, nice. You found it. Also, there's even a fourth thing that we didn't talk about to adjust when you're trying these different factors, which is the brake release. Sometimes, if the car gets... Oh, look at that. Look at the sound. And you still got a little bit of understeer here. You see?
Yeah.
So there's even more. You can try even more. But the thing is, you try to change the downshifting. So you lock the rears. So you brake less. So you do those two things, but then when you turn into the corner, the car is rotating too much still. So you can release the brakes more. But if you release the brakes too much, you carry too much speed and the car slides. So you need to brake earlier. And you see, like, you try to change one thing, and as a consequence, you have to change other 4 or 5 things to see if that concept works. Because you're not changing... When you change the downshift speed, you're changing the whole concept, and you have to change a lot of other things to make that new concept work or not. So never change one thing alone and say it doesn't work. Yeah. Change one thing and then try to adapt it with other stuff.
The other one I wanted to know was how to extract quali pace. That's one thing I've always struggled with. So every race I go into, unless it was Watkins a few weeks back, I actually managed to nail quali. I always qualify out of position, and then always come back stronger in the race. My race pace is always stronger relative to my quali pace.
Do you want to try a quali run?
Yes, I haven't got. Have I got a quali? I probably haven't got an old quali setup.
Yeah, it's about tire temperatures and cold tires.
Yeah,
and what to do. But now this already could help you.
Yes,
because what happens with the cold tires is that they are more sensitive.
It's a quali set.
Nice. They are a lot more sensitive to you overheating them. So basically, the hot tires, they have 10 grip. When you overheat them, they go down to 6 grip. But the cold tires, they have 10 grip. When you overheat them, they go down to 2 grip, 1 grip. So if you don't have full control of the surface temperature on entry, the car is going to be ridiculously unpredictable mid-corner and exit. So
probably what I have in my normal running is compounded in quali to a worse state, essentially. Okay. Yep. Interesting.
Let's try that. Now your quali sample is going to be contaminated already.
I'll try and drive bad for you then. Is there anything to do on prep lap or?
It really depends from car to car. On this car, just try to, well, you need to add as much temperature as possible without scrubbing. Because scrubbing makes you lose grip. So maybe weaving here a little bit on like high speeds and high load, so there's not a lot of scrubbing, but there's some temperature being added up.
Yeah.
Like here, you don't want to lock up. If the car understeers, let it go wide and come back. You want to add temperature in the most healthy way. Stopped more than you thought there.
It's never going to stop braking like that.
Bang.
Too much.
What did you think?
I overdrove the last sector. I think I do find myself overdriving it. I messed up into Mercedes. I felt like I definitely turned in too early on that one. Did get the car stopped before I got the rotation in, so that messed up the drive out around there. I think where I struggle is I struggle with how much to adjust braking points and bits like that just to extract that pace. Was it even worth trying to push it too much, or just to let the kind of pace come to you? Where do you find that pace in quali?
Some things. First, the car with cold tires has better grip for stopping.
Yep.
I don't know if you know that, but like on cold, like you can really stop the car a lot more. Plus, you have less fuel.
Yep.
So the braking zones on hard braking zones is a little bit different. That's why you stopped so much for T2. Like the car was just killing.
Yeah.
Maybe you overcompensated that into the hairpin. That's why you went wide there. But it's like on higher speed corners you have less grip. On lower speed corners you have more grip. So you can create a list of characteristics on cold tires for quali. Stops better, gets out of corners better, but churns less on medium and higher speed corners. It's more sensitive to scrubbing, it's more sensitive to traction control, it's more sensitive to micro locking.
Yeah.
And it's also more sensitive to aggressive downshifting on medium speed corners.
Okay. So it's attack the slow speed and the braking into those, but be more cautious probably with the medium high speed to keep the tires in grip into the right tire temperature range.
Yes. Also, there is this is higher and higher and higher detail, but you can, for example, heat up the front a little bit more than the rears on the outlap by deliberately understeering a little bit more the front.
Yeah.
There's many things. I would say
can you go brake bias forward on the outlap?
Yep.
So heat your brakes up and heat the
brake
wheels
magic.
up from there.
You know that.
Yeah, that's what it's all about.
So that's one of the things as well. You can do it when you're weaving on higher speeds. You can weave with quick but low steering angle, so you overheat more the rears, or you can weave slowly but with lots of steering angle, so you overheat the fronts.
Yep.
You can choose which axle you want to scrub. And it gets more and more into detail like that. And then sometimes like you on a good lap, you have like the first sector is bad because the tires are still too cold, but then the end of the last sector on the first lap is good. And then the beginning of this sector of the second lap is good, but then the last sector is bad already. Like, it's really about tire temperature, understanding at what stage the tire is, long term and short term, about micro locking and that surface temperature. That is a lot, like short term, like 10 seconds, 5 seconds. So it's all that, man. There's not an easy answer for quality to this. It's a little bit of everything that you have to practice. You have to do quality runs, at least 5-6 runs, if you want to really nail.
It's something I need to start working on, definitely. I think it'll gain me positions in races by it starting a little bit higher. I think my brain's overloaded.
Okay. Yeah, this was a lot. I mean, I throw a lot of information on you because I know that you can deal with it. So
that's good. That's fine.
And also, we can, if you want, you can like rewatch it after and kind of take notes and stuff.
Yeah, I think I'll have to.
Do you want to just say a recap of what you worked on, or want to call it?
So primary one for me is to really pay attention to what I'm doing with the tyres, particularly on corner entry. Am I overheating rears? How to get the rotation? Primarily my shifting was getting lazy again, so try and bring that earlier and a little bit more aggressive to try and get the rears overheated, but stay away from the micro locking. I think they were the key things for me.
Nice.
Not too many.
That's good. That's good. That's correct. And now just drive, man. 1,000 laps thinking about these things.
That's all I'm doing
honestly,
tomorrow.
you can find 3-4 tenths per lap.
Yeah,
Not only with consistency, but also pace, because you will understand what corners require more temperature here and there. And I think when we get to this level, you're like really you're transcending racing. You're going to the 5K plus level.
But it's giving me that understanding to realise what I'm doing. And it's only going to make me faster, which is good.
Nice. Good practice for your work in real life as well, right?
If I was in charge of that, yeah. I usually just get moaned at the engine's not fast enough.
All right, man. Good job. You're flying. Cool. It's amazing. I like to see the improvement. The topics we have been talking about from the first session to this session is just like another level. Really good stuff.
No, it's good. It's good.
So yeah, have a good practice. Have fun in the races.
Well. Thank you very much, Julia.
All right. See ya, man.
All right. Cheers. Thank you.
Bye. Cheers.
Bye-bye.
All right, guys. That was it. What an amazing session. Look at this. This is super high level session. Super high level session. What we were talking about here is really important. And we were talking about consistency and what caused it. We ended up having to talk about 6 different things that were causing unpredictability in the car behavior. And well, we got it. So now found a lot of consistency. Of course, it's all fresh in his technique, so he's gonna have to drive thinking about that for the next week to really make things sink in. But that is it. I hope you guys enjoyed this stream. I'm actually closing it. Right before that, I would like to one more time ask you guys to check out my course. I'm actually going to include this lesson that we just had, a very highlighted version of 20 minutes in the course.